I've noticed a theme across a lot of your interviews in that you tend to get interested in a particular asset class or a particular country when it's trading a significant percentage off of its high. And I've shared that kind of way of potentially smelling out good opportunities. My concern in today's environment is that the central bankers are committed to keeping asset prices high and they're committed to keeping interest rates at nothing. So my concern is, what if we don't see that big correction in equity valuations and prices because the things that they're being priced in are just being debased?
Well, the head of the Treasury, Department of Treasury in the U.S. says, don't worry, not going to be any economic problems again in the future. We've got it all figured out and we have it under control. I have heard things like that in all my life from politicians and academics. History would indicate that they're totally wrong, that we will have economic problems periodically. So I suspect we will. Now, there is always throughout history, whenever there's a problem, people look around for new theories. Mr. Marx had a theory 100, 150 years ago, and everybody thought, well, gosh, Marxism sounds great. What a wonderful theory. And many people tried it for a long time. Well, we all now know that Marxism doesn't work. That didn't mean that a lot of people didn't fall for it. There's a new theory now called MMT, which means more money today. No, it means modern monetary theory. First of all, it's not modern. Second of all, maybe it's a theory, but it's certainly not correct. But they say, don't worry, just print it, and we'll have good times forever. Maybe. I'm skeptical of that. I've read enough history and had enough experience to know that no matter how many people say we can solve the problems, the world shows that they never have and probably never will. It's a little bit like, history shows very clear that war is absurd. And nobody wins a war, even the people who think they win the war. Doesn't mean that people don't have wars over and over and over again. So I'm very skeptical, but the Secretary of the Treasury has got 2 Ivy League degrees from 2 famous Ivy League universities. She says, don't worry, no more problems. I'm extremely skeptical. In fact, I would say she's dead wrong, but who knows?
I agree in that, especially MMT I think will end in ruins. How do you think we can position ourselves to end up on the winning side of those ruins? Because I share your suspicion that you can't print money forever. So
well, normally when things like that happen, first of all, as prices go higher, which usually happens when you have a lot of money printing, interest rates go higher. So I certainly would not own bonds. In fact, if you know how to sell short, you might learn how to sell short bonds. But secondly, it nearly always leads to inflation. It always has led to inflation. Despite Mrs. Yellen, it's going to happen again. And so you need to own the things that go up. When there's inflation, that means prices go up. The things that are going to go higher, look out the window. Agriculture, you're in Chicago, agriculture prices are going to go higher. Metals, commodities, energy, silver. The price of silver is down over 50% from its all-time high. Often the price of silver and gold go through the roof when there's inflation. So if you own the things that are going to go up in price because of inflation, you will probably, first of all, you'll survive, but second of all, you might make a lot of money. In the 1930s, we had a horrible, horrible economic time. Many people, not many, but there were people who came out of the 30s very rich and successful. So if you understand what's going on, chances are you'll make a lot of money and do well.
What really excites you about China so much? You moved to Singapore to be closer to China. And I think you even said, it's hard for Americans to understand that there's a shift taking place. And the center of that is in Asia and more precisely China. Do you have a affinity, or is it just one of your favorite countries, or you just think there's so much potential there that's where the things are going to happen and you want to be close to it?
Well, Chris, it has nothing to do. It has to do with purely and simply what's happening in the world. If it were country X, I would be telling you this about country X. But China, I could see 35, 36 years ago that there were dramatic, exciting changes taking place in China. when I first went to China, I was terrified. American propaganda all my life had said that the Chinese were evil, vicious, bloodthirsty, dangerous people. I got there and I realized, oh boy, these guys want to be rich. They all work from dawn to dusk. They save huge amounts of their income, etc. So I could see what was happening. I mean, anybody who doubts that, just go back 35 years ago and you will see that China has had an unbelievable change as they become more and more capitalist. They still call themselves communists, but they're among the best capitalists in the world. And I could see, I thought, dramatic changes taking place. And for what it's worth, China is the only country in world history that's had recurring periods of greatness. Rome was great once, Egypt was great once, Britain was great once, but China's been great on top 3 or 4 times in the last few thousand years. And I don't know why they're the only country that's been able to do it, but they're on the rise again, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
We can say it's terrible. We can say they're evil, vicious, dangerous people. Say it all day long, but there's dramatic change continuing to take place. Now, Chris, it doesn't mean there won't be problems.
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now let's continue.
I assure you, the United States became the most successful country in the 20th century. Right along the way, we had a horrible civil war. We had many depressions with a D.
True.
We had very few human rights. You could buy and sell congressmen, or you can still buy and sell congressmen, but in the old days, they were cheap. No, America became fantastic, but there were lots of problems along the way. China will have plenty of problems.
Yeah. Have you noticed any new opportunities come up specifically in China since COVID?
Well, like everywhere else in the world, the economy and especially travel and entertainment collapsed. I bought Chinese wine stocks because, people stopped. Now, most people don't even know there are Chinese wine stocks. Yeah, but people stopped going to restaurants and bars, etc. So I have found some opportunities, yes, but that's true everywhere. I will buy any countries, not any, but many countries' airlines and airports because they all collapsed with the virus.
Yeah.
Back to what you said in the very beginning. Remember WAG. When there's a disaster, there's usually also an opportunity.
I loved when you mentioned that the last time we chatted because, it kind of opens up, a new mindset and thought for a lot of people that hadn't thought about that before because the old standard thought is like, oh, crisis, it's going to be extremely hard for everybody. But we experienced this, when COVID hit, especially us digital entrepreneurs. A lot of us, prospered after the first few months of COVID, and then business absolutely skyrocketed for people that were set up online. So WAG has, proved itself to be true once again.
Well, it's not just when a virus hits, lots of earthquakes, hurricane, anything can cause WAG. But I have learned, and I hope you have learned, and everyone learns, that when there is a disaster, yes, we all feel sorry for the people and we want to help in any way we can, but we might also invest. And by the way, if you invest in a place where there's a disaster, you're helping the people. Yeah, you're there to make money, but the people need all the help they can get, including all the investment they can get. So It's not just some greedy capitalist. I mean, you're actually doing good for the people, for the area, for whatever's happening.
Jim, you were talking about, you dove into commodities and gold and silver. And while we're on it, I'd love to know your take in cryptocurrency. You see patterns with what's happening with crypto. And I'm very curious, gold and silver have kind of stayed at the same price range basically, for quite a while right now. They went up a little bit, and I think at the high point, silver was close to $50 per ounce. But it seems like, and I'm just curious on your take, do you think a lot of people that may have traditionally put their money in gold and silver are moving it over to cryptocurrency because they trust a different type of currency and they're willing to bet that this is going to be something that will be very successful in the future?
What do I think? It's happening. I mean, turn on your computer. Yes, there are a lot of people putting their money into cryptocurrencies now, and many of them probably would have bought gold and silver once upon a time. But all money is going to be on the computer eventually. I mean, in China, you can't take a taxi with money. You have to have your money on the computer if you want to buy ice cream. You got to have they're way ahead of us. Every country is working on it. Many countries are ahead of the U.S., but the U.S. is working on it too. All money is going to be on the computer eventually. There's no question about that. Governments love it. First of all, it's cheaper and more efficient. They don't have to print the stuff and transport it, et cetera. So, but from their point of view, which is what they love the most, is they'll have total control. They will know everything we do. I mean, they'll call me up and say, "You bought too much ice cream. Stop eating so much," everything. They'll know everything we do, which I, of course, don't like, but governments love. So it's coming. The crypto guys say, yes, we're going to replace money. Our money is going to be the money. Now, maybe they're correct, but my view is that if that happens, history also shows that governments do not like to lose their control. They do not like to lose their monopoly. And maybe when the U.S. government, I'll use the U.S., when the U.S. says, okay, this is money now, this is it. I don't think that Washington is going to say, but if you want to use that money over there, you can use that other money too.
Right.
That's not the way those guys think. I mean, I wish we could. That's not the way those bureaucrats and monopolists think. They're probably going to say it's illegal, or they'll put some kind of controls or restrictions. You know, in the 30s, the Bank of England said at one point to people, if you use any other money except our money, it's an act of treason. Treason means they execute you. You know, most people stop using other things for money. Governments are pretty ruthless and pretty horrible people. They like control and monopolies. So I would suspect that if the crypto guys are right, and if it becomes real money, we will have government problems. Now, there's no question that, crypto money is better for all of us, and competing currencies are better for all of us, but they have the guns. And if they say you're not going to use it, most of us are not going to use it.
Have you bought any crypto yet?
No. I never bought nor sold.
No.
Wish I bought Bitcoin at 2.
Yes.
I mean, don't we all? I bought anything at 1, and when it went to 10 or 20 or 1,000.
Yeah.
But I've never bought nor sold.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.